Welcome back, everybody. We're going to do a little bit of Tai Chi today. Today we're going to be talking about connections and relationships, different parts of the body. The main focus I want to have for today is understanding the way that central spine, that center line of the body, is connected in with your elbows. Okay. In terms of relationships of movements, we typically work in at a minimum pairs if we can. So we want to think about things like the tip of the head and the sacrum. We want to think about the left and right side elbow, left and right side knee. And you want to think about things like the front of the body and the back of the body working together, right? So those are good pairs to start with. Sometimes if we need to hone in on small actions, we'll work on just a single point rather than pairs of points. All right, but pairs are really valuable or really useful in the practice. Eventually, you want to work into using or utilizing the body in 6 directions at the same time, and more so than that as you get better and better. Expand upon the number of directions that you're working at any given time. All right. So by working this way, one of the things that becomes challenging is understanding the way that we can initiate a movement from that center of the body to generate motion out through the different points of the body, right? So now I'm using sort of a middle conduit point to work on, say, my 2 elbows, okay? I also can utilize that understanding of that middle conduit point to work on things like my tip of the head and my tailbone, okay? So ideally, if you can, we want to start with a really straight body. That means that sacrum bone is filling out that lower back here, okay? And your tip of the head is up. The straighter you are and the more vertical you are with your body, the easier it is to twist, all right? And the more range of motion that you'll have through your twist, okay? The twist is a really valuable tool when we're looking into working through that elbow and working through that center. So the first exercise we're going to start out with here is just working on that elbow itself. So turning the palm over so my thumb is leading the way, rotating palms up and bringing it to the back. Okay, just let it pass through the back slightly. Fingertips like they're dragging on the ground, and then coming back through with the thumb side. Okay. So we're just working on general rotation focused around the movement of the elbow. Now the thing about connecting your spiral from your center out through your elbow is you have to be able to move everything, be fluid with every joint in the body, starting from that midpoint, working out through the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and all the way even to the fingertip. So we're coming through. You can take it relaxed and let those hands drop a little bit, or you can take it a little wider and feel your palm as though you're covering over the ground. One of the things to keep in mind while focusing on the elbow is that your elbow needs to be as low as it can within that movement. So I don't want to be up here and high, because if I relax through the shoulders, my elbows will be able to hang much lower. So I want to use sort of those elbows and those shoulders as indicators for me when my elbows are starting to climb too much. All right, keep them nice and low. Giving yourself some awareness or attentiveness to the ground. How does the ground feel with the bottom surface of that hand, that elbow, through that palm right here? All right, how's that bottom surface feel? Okay. I'm going to add a small circle from that hip into this motion. And the relationship we're trying to develop here with this exercise is letting that hip drop back as you draw in. Letting that hip move to the front as you're reaching that full extension, and then drawing back. Just sort of feeling the way that it fits together. Right now I'm starting with a counterclockwise circle from my hip. And now we're going to change direction here. From here, we're going to bring our hip back the other way, drawing in. Now I'm working that clockwise circle. Remember, drawing back through the elbow as you draw back through the hip. So this exercise is more same direction rather than oppositional in movement. This is a very good warm-up for building the elbow work. Just 2 more times around. Okay. Good. Now we're just going to loosen up that spine a little bit, twisting at the waist, letting those arms swing freely. Now remember, the taller you can be or straighter you can be with that spine, the better. I'll make sure that low back, that sacrum space is filling in on that lower back. Ideally in this exercise, you want to anchor your hip and your knee so you're not turning from that lower body, but rather you're staying extended through this point and just sitting onto your chair while you're kind of freely rotating from here upward. Let's bring it up to our shoulder. All the way into the back. My backhand is also rising as it comes through the back. Tapping up towards my shoulder blade. And as I come back down to the shoulder, coming back to that kidney point. And slowly working it down to the waist, to the hip. And slowly let it come back naturally. Okay, good. Now, let's work in a little waist twisting with that elbow. What we're going to do is we're going to draw back with one hand. Okay, this time I want you just to keep your palm facing the ground the whole time. All right, and thinking about that thumb leading the way on that wiping inward. Try not to reach across, lean with the body, pitch, bend, any of this. Keep the middle straight and twist, okay? That twist, bringing that arm around. So my arm isn't really doing much motion, but you'll feel as you twist, it gets projected forward into the center. And as this twists back, this is coming back in close to my body towards the middle. Wiping. You just work one hand at a time if you like. Secondary hand on the center of the body or on the hip. Okay. For this particular exercise, I like it on my midpoint, just below my belly button. Working the other side. Now that sitting can be really important, making sure we're not twisting on that low body. Right, once again, make sure we're sitting down and sort of anchoring through our seat bones. The reason this is important is because if you start to let all this stuff move, you start to lose out on some of the connecting pieces, right? And you'll feel less in terms of the tensioning created by the twisting, all right? This is releasing that tension, right? We want, when you're in a full twist, for there to be a little bit of tensile force, right? Which is different than muscular tension, right? It's that sort of like pulling a rubber band taut sort of feeling, all right? I want extended like a rubber band and coming back and through. To go back the other way, I'm releasing that rubber band, all right? And as I cross that center, it's winding that other side of the rubber band up. Okay, let's go to two hands. Just gonna keep that elbow low, spine straight. Okay, good. I'm going to change this just slightly. So we've been working from this parallel stance, more this horse stance sort of format. And we're going to move into a forward stance here. So what I want you to work on from this side here is this same kind of rotation, okay? This will help you feel a little bit more of this motion of opening through the shoulder and the elbow outward slightly first before letting it sort of whip in a way back, right? Maybe instead of thinking whip, think turn the corner quickly, all right? So my elbow sinks and drops into place as I extend forward. Okay. Let's get my secondary hand just placed. All right. You can technically work both hands, same circle. Right. Another way to work this exercise. Keep your body straight. Make sure you're not chasing your hand. Chasing your hand would be like this, okay? Or like that, all right? Or like this, okay? I'm really staying weight on that front leg, about 70%, and keeping that distribution as I twist. All right. Shoulder, elbow, wrist and fingertip. Shoulder, elbow, wrist and fingertip. Open, right and left, and then back to the middle. Let's work that other side a little bit, all right? Let's again covering towards that inside line, all right? Opening through the shoulder and the elbow, wrist and fingertip. I'm just covering up to right about that eye line. Remember, after you open, letting that elbow drop to turn that corner quickly to come back and through. Three more. And now we're going to add that secondary hand in. Do a few times with both hands circling, right? Both my hands going in the clockwise direction. Okay, two more. Okay. Everything should feel real loose now. Okay. And those simple kinds of exercises are the kinds of exercises that can really build up your understanding of connections through the body, all right? Once again, just that reminder, straight line through the middle, okay? Working on utilizing that twisting to build your connection, all right? And my emphasis being on my elbow, okay? We'll do one more action, and then I'm going to take this into just the beginning of the first section, all right? So last movement on this one, much like we were doing before with that last exercise, but now I'm going to let my pinky lead me up and out, and then let my thumb cut in, thumb side of my arm from my fingertip all the way to my elbow, okay, and feel it suck back, all right? So really similar exercise to what we just did, but now I'm letting my shoulder and elbow extend forward this way with my elbow pointing more upward, it's actually pointing a little bit that direction here, okay? And then cutting back, okay? We'll go 1, 2. All right, so you can feel it get to the end of the twist, and at the very end of your motion, you're going to feel it spiral back towards you. All right, so spiral away and then back towards, right? Opening through the chest and through. Opening through the chest and through. This is the same sort of energetic that you might feel from practicing the elbow. All right, instead of turning the hand all the way, I'm just going to open, right? Okay, this is a good building exercise for this sort of motion, okay? So I can just pin that hand towards that center and let my elbow move as my body moves, all right, as my secondary. All right, so before we were down here, we can be up here now. Okay, switch it. Goes up and in. Okay. Make sure you're not lifting through the shoulder or the elbow. Make sure that you're extending it forward. All right. It's like you're trying to point at something with your pinky, which I know we typically don't do, right? But I'm looking towards pointing with my pinky. All right, my shoulder goes first, then my elbow, then my pinky, and then my hand's going to rotate flat and come back. As I leave this elbow slightly forward, shoulder set, so that my body leads that elbow on that opposing side through. I shouldn't have to think too much about it when it's in the correct place. Okay, 2 more. Last one. Okay, good. So, the main place I'm going to look at for this sort of movement is going to be your lifting hands. All right, but I'm going to go through the whole opening of that first section up until white crane spreads its wings. Okay. This is going to give you an opportunity to just kind of play with that understanding of where those elbows are at. So while they may not all have this sort of rotation in there, all right, keep your eye open. You may see it in a couple of different places. Okay. I'm going to do 1 time facing the camera, 1 time facing sideways, and 1 time facing to the front. Okay. Expanding slightly through these elbow. Remember, try to keep that elbow low through the movement, the spine straight, filling with the sacrum bone. Feel that drop with the elbow. Here's part of that connection through the middle and that elbow. Now here's that big one. Feeling rotate slightly. Feel it come in. Here's the next piece. Rotate slightly. Rise out. Stepping. Feed it back to the other side. White crane spreads its wings. Stepping apart. Keeping those elbows low throughout the movement. Rolling out. Relaxing through the elbows. Just elbows drop. Single lift. Elbow rotation from the center of the body. Big one. Ready, those elbows drop, focusing in on those elbows. 7. White crane spreads its wings. Good. Now one last time to the front. Taking your time. Interconnect different points of the body. elbows. Finding that rotation through the middle of the body. Drawing in and down. And release those elbows. And rising. Great. So that's going to be it for us today. Hopefully, if you have any comments, any questions, or any suggestions, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Thank you for everyone who showed their support. And hopefully you're subscribed. If you're not, please hit that button. And if there's anything else that you guys would like to know a little bit better about either the Tai Chi practice, energetics, or anything you want to know about Sifu and his history, go ahead and let me know that as well down in the comments. All right? Hope you all have a nice day, and we'll see you next time.